there, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Chris Kroll, Editor-in-Chief of Solar Builder, and I'll be your moderator today. This webinar will showcase the GoodWeek company and its complete line of energy storage products, which includes the new C&I three-phase 480-volt and 208-volt inverters made for the U.S. market. In addition, Sollega will feature its UL 3741 certified racking solutions that simplify commercial rooftop solar installations. And OpenSolar will demonstrate how these systems can be designed. Before we get started, though, we'd like to take a quick poll. So please submit your answer and click that blue return to presentation button. And we have a lot to get to today, but we'll definitely save time at the end for a Q&A. So please feel free to type your questions into the designated panel you see there on the left at any time. And we'll also be answering some of these questions one-on-one just via the chat, depending on kind of how easy they are to answer. So, don't be shy, fire away whenever you think of something. And also know that today's webinar is being recorded and it will be archived at solarbuildermag.com. So you'll basically just go back to the same page you went to register, go back, you can rewatch it at any time, refer it to a colleague to check out, etc. Okay, and I will move into talking about our presenters. We have a great lineup today. We have Sandra Herrera. She's with GoodWe's, technical sales manager. She has over 14 years experience in the renewable energy industry with a particular focus on residential storage. Although she has always worked for inverter manufacturers, her personal goals have been to support the education of residential storage and system design, installation, and code compliance. We have Ellie Rothschild, sales manager of Sollega. Ellie obtained his C46 solar contractor's license way back in 2004 when he started his first company. He made the switch to developing solar PV in 2006 and started Sollega in 2009. Sollega designs, manufactures, and sells ballasted hybrid racking systems for flat rooftops and ground mount PV. Their one-piece injection molded FR510 bucket is quick to ship, stage, and install. It's pretty cool. And we have Andrew McGugan. He is Hey there, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Chris Kroll, Editor-in-Chief of Solar. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Chris Kroll, Editor-in-Chief of Solar Builder, and I'll be your moderator today. This webinar will showcase the GoodWeek company and its complete line of energy storage products, which includes the new C&I three-phase 480-volt and 208-volt inverters made for the U.S. market. In addition, Sollega will feature its UL 3741 certified racking solutions that simplify commercial rooftop solar installations. And OpenSolar will demonstrate how these systems can be designed. Before we get started, though, we'd like to take a quick poll. So please submit your answer and click that blue return to presentation button. And we have a lot to get to today, but we'll definitely save time at the end for a Q&A. So please feel free to type your questions into the designated panel you see there on the left at any time. And we'll also be answering some of these questions one-on-one just via the chat, depending on kind of how easy they are to answer. So, don't be shy, fire away whenever you think of something. And also know that today's webinar is being recorded and it will be archived at solarbuildermag.com. So you'll basically just go back to the same page you went to register, go back, you can rewatch it at any time, refer it to a colleague to check out, etc. Okay, and I will move into talking about our presenters. We have a great lineup today. We have Sandra Herrera. She's with GoodWe's, technical sales manager. She has over 14 years experience in the renewable energy industry with a particular focus on residential storage. Although she has always worked for inverter manufacturers, her personal goals have been to support the education of residential storage and system design, installation, and code compliance. We have Ellie Rothschild, sales manager of Sollega. Ellie obtained his C46 solar contractor's license way back in 2004 when he started his first company. He made the switch to developing solar PV in 2006 and started Sollega in 2009. Sollega designs, manufactures, and sells ballasted hybrid racking systems for flat rooftops and ground mount PV. Their one-piece injection molded FR510 bucket is quick to ship, stage, and install. It's pretty cool. And we have Andrew McGugan. He is head of pro experience in the US for OpenSolar, a leading solar design and proposal software company. With over 12 years in the solar industry, Andrew brings a wealth of experience to this role. And with that, I will turn things over to the GoodWeek team with Karina Garcia, marketing manager for the USA and Canada. Take it away, Karina.
Hello, thank you everyone for joining us. So I'll just take a few slides to walk you through the GoodWeek brand. So GoodWeek is a world-leading PV inverter manufacturer and smart energy solution provider for residential and commercial applications. So we range from 0.7 to 350 kilowatts globally. Inverter and battery storage ecosystem provider. Our PV inverters have been installed in over 100 countries with a cumulative installation volume of 52 gigawatts. We have 4 million units installed. Our US offices are in Denver, Colorado, but we are headquartered in Suzhou, China. Our North American products are UL and CEC certified, and we are also a GE licensed partner. So we like to have our 3 pillars that we talk about. So first is leader. So GoodWeek secured the position of a global #1 residential inverter supplier as acknowledged by Wood Mackenzie, highlighting the dominance and reliability in the residential solar market. We are also reliable and dependable. At GoodWeek, quality is commitment. We received the TUV Renland All Quality Matters Award for 7 consecutive years. And then we're also trusted. So we've been acknowledged globally for design and innovation and sustainable development. So we've received a number of awards. I'd like to point out the first one, the Red Dot Award for design and innovation. And as I mentioned, the TU Renland is that next one for product quality. And then we have a few Wood Mackenzie's in here, and energy storage inspection for our market position in hybrid inverters. Pointing to that second to last, that third to last is Bloomberg, the most financially stable inverter company. And then silver medal by EcoVadis for achievements in sustainable development. It's our last one in 2022. Going to the next slide, our GoodWeek family is 5,000 total employees, and then 1,000 of which are R&D specific. So this speaks to the the importance that we put into technology, reliability, and research and developing our products. Our global sales revenue have gone up. We don't have our numbers yet for last year yet, but you can see we have some great growth. And then lastly, our Colorado offices include a testing center. So please, you're welcome to come visit us in Denver, connect with us. We are just minutes away from the airport. We have a local technical support team, a local training center, local test team as well too. This is where our RMA dispatch center is housed, and then R&D services for North America. We do also have a warehouse in Los Angeles, California. So with that, I will turn it over to Sandra.
Thank you, Karina, and thanks everybody for taking some time off your busy day to learn about the products. So I want to give you a big picture of all of our products in the U.S. So if you go to our corporate website, you will see worldwide products, and then we also have the U.S. website that is showing only the UL listed products. And what I'm going to be targeting today is the UL listed products. From the left side, we have our string inverter, which is the MSUS. And one of the unique features of our inverters is that all of the boxes, the enclosures of the inverters are all the same size. Starting from the 5 kW to the 11.4 kW inverter, they're all going to be the same physical size, which actually makes it very easy when you're trying to evaluate an installation site, that you more or less know the size of the inverter. It doesn't matter the power capacity of that inverter. The string inverters have between 2 and 3 MPPTs. These are isolated MPPTs, so the strings don't have to be exactly the same. They range in MPPT to a high end of 500 volts DC. Then we jump into the storage. Within the storage family, we have our hybrid ESUS, And we also have our AC couple solution, SBP US, which I'll touch on in a little bit here. And at the last, I will touch about our rooftop C&I products. So let me move on to the storage. So within the storage residential, and I did forget to mention also the string inverter residentials are designed for 120 to 40 volts, which is a more typical residential grid connection in the US. The storage inverters also have an additional feature, which is they're battery ready. You may have a situation where a customer says, I'm interested in solar, in storage, but due to budgeting or permitting, I'm not ready for the batteries. No problem. You can have the storage inverter ready to go and add the batteries later. Within the ESUS, you have, again, models starting from 5 kW. You see the slides here all the way to 11.4 kW. The inverters have, all of our products have AFCI, arc fault detection, rapid shutdown. I will go a little bit more detail what that means in following slides. And they will also have the communications, which is Wi-Fi, LAN, and 4G. With the ESUS, we have an additional feature, which is ready for an EV charger plug in to the inverter, which will allow you to plug in the EV charger right into the inverter port. With a large MPPT current at 16 amps. So although we're seeing larger and larger modules, solar modules for C&I and commercial, we are starting to see them in residential. We are starting to see in the US 500 watts, 540. As these modules continue to grow, so that's the input current. So this inverter was designed to accommodate the larger modules. ABD and MPD are our microgrid interconnect devices. So for both of the storage inverters, if you have a single inverter, you would get an ABD. And if you have a group of inverters, then you get the M for multiple, MPD, which will be connected between the grid and the system. So what happens then is when there's a power outage, the MPD or ABD isolates the house and creates a mini grid while there's a power outage. And this is applicable for the hybrid ESUS, which is a DC couple inverter, and the SBP, which is an AC couple inverter. They come in two sizes. They come in 100 amps and 200 amps for whole home backup or partial home backup. Our batteries. So Lynx batteries are very unique and very easy to install. One of the things that, in my opinion, we see a lot in the industry, this LFP lithium batteries, high voltage. They come in a cabinet and they're heavy. They need to be managed. Somehow you need to manage to move them around. With ours, each box you see on the slide, now you're looking at the full cabinet. However, each one of those steps is a module, a battery module. So for example, for the smallest battery, which is the 9.6, you would only get 3 of these modules, which you stack one on top of the other. Then when you move up to the 12.8 kWh, that's 4 modules. Then we have the 16 kWh, 5, and then the largest is 19.2 kWh, which would be 6, which is what you are seeing on the screen right now. Couple of things here for the US only, the battery, the power control unit that holds the BMS also holds a 50 amp breaker. So that's already there built in. Once you're mounting these or stacking these modules or batteries, there's only one way that they will fit. you're not touching any wires. You're not stringing positives and negatives between them, nothing at all. There's no additional fuses. There's no additional anything. You just simply stack them. There's no way to cross the polarity. The design of the box does not allow you to stack backwards. So it only goes in one way. Once you stack them and you put the power control unit and you power the unit, now you're still connecting the positive and negative to the inverter from the point, the arrow that says breaker, that's where you're going to have the breaker connection. On the other side where you see conduit holes, that's where you're going to have positive and negative to the inverter in the communication. As soon as you have power to this battery, then the battery management system automatically recognizes what size these batteries are. You don't have to worry. And also the inverter will immediately understand all the settings. So you don't have to worry about any settings. You plug and play. And in a little bit, I will show you our app, and I will show you how it will recognize the battery. They're intended to be floor standing. I am showing on this slide a wall mounted. This is for support. And although for most pictures you will see I show the inverter and the batteries right underneath, there's no requirement that the batteries are immediately underneath the inverter. If it's not convenient, you can actually put the batteries on the side. And in some places, like in our case in Colorado, we have a lot of installations where the batteries go inside because of the extreme weather. Our batteries have UL 9540 certification, and they also have the test UL 9540A. Each of those modules that I was talking about will ship to you in a box. The box weighs about 80 pounds. The big stack with 6 of these can weigh up to a little over 500 pounds. This is why I was saying having them shipped separately to you makes it a little easier to handle. One last thing I'll say about the battery, the largest battery for Lynx is 19.2 kWh. However, you can group them depending on the generation of the inverters. Gen 1 can accept 2 stacks, which would make the system almost 40 kWh, a little under. And the new generation that I'm talking about in this presentation can handle more stacks of inverters. Everything is controlled and monitored via our app. Our inverters don't have a screen. All you see on the inverter is LEDs, simply because they're intended to be installed outdoors. And we've seen over the years so many inverters that in a matter of a year, the sun just fades an LCD. So we removed that idea. We gave you LEDs, and then you and your customer can actually monitor and configure the inverter using our app. So we have Solar Go, which is the app you're going to use right when you are in front of the inverter in your commissioning. And I'm showing you here a couple of different, very typical configurations that the customer can choose. Self-consumption, time of use, peak load shaving, all of those are available via the commissioning app. During the commissioning time, however, they can also be changed for later use. One more thing I mentioned about our storage inverters being battery ready. There's something else that is happening that has become quite popular mostly in California. But if you have this, where the customer may not be interested in backup at all, they're not interested in power outages, but there is a benefit from the utility company to store their own solar into their batteries for them to use later in the day or later in the night. So that option is also available where the customer gets the batteries just to offset, just to be able to store their excess during the day and utilize that during the night, and not during a power outage, not concerned about power outages at all. And I'm going to jump into the CNI or commercial inverters. And I wanted to remind guys, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. Once I'm done with my presentation, I will jump in and try to answer them. We'll also have some time at the end. So let me talk about our CNI inverters. Right now, available today is our SMT-US, which is a 480 volts three-phase inverter. This inverter comes in two sizes, a 50 and a 60 kW. It's a string inverter. It's a rooftop inverter. The same pattern that I mentioned before, both of these inverters are the same size. So if you are trying to design where you're going to put them, you already have an idea of how big these inverters are and where they're going to go. The SMT-US have 6 MPPTs, so there are 6 isolated MPPTs. You can string up to 2 strings per MPPT. Oversizing allowed in this inverter, and all of our inverters do accept oversizing. However, for all oversizing, you always have to remember that first, when you're string sizing, you cannot violate the maximum voltage of the MPPT, and also you have to keep in mind the maximum ISC of the module, right? But oversizing is allowed. So what ends up happening with oversizing is when you think about the life of the array being 20 years, perhaps in the very front end of the installation, there's not additional realized production as the modules are losing efficiency over the long life of the modules, then you will see more production later on. Rapid shutdown included, arc fault. We do have our own proprietary AI arc fault. So the AI is in our residential products. The AI is always learning about what noise is an arc fault versus maybe something site specific that is happening and to prevent any nuisance stripping of the arc fault. And we're launching our newest CNI product. This is a 208 volt. So it comes in 2 sizes, 22 and 28 kW. The same box. I forgot to mention, all of our inverters have a DC switch and an AC switch. We have lockout, tag out. So we have the space for the switch to be locked in for safety. And it also has the same controls and features that the 480. Certifications. So all of our inverters are ready to go with all the certifications in the market. And when we're talking about PV RSS, which our friends from Sollega will talk a little bit later about UL 3741, we are compatible with UL 3741 for both of our rooftop CNI products. I want to touch a little bit on some of the additional features. The slide is showing my CNI products. However, this is available for all of our products, from the smallest 5 kW string inverter to the storage to the CNI. So what I have on the screen here is the optional addition of a meter. Now, the meter that you see on the screen is a specific model for this inverter. The residentials have a different meter, but it's also available. And so what the meter does, at the very basic, is monitoring loads. So it can give the owner of the plant or the homeowner an idea of what's happening with their PV production. Is it going to the house, or in the case of an industrial site like a shopping mall, is it going to the loads, or is it going out to the grid? These, by the way, are revenue grade meters. So we do have their ANSI standard certificate on our website. Another way that you can use these meters is by power limiting. Some people call this zero export. Power limiting could be something that happens because we have a small bus bar, and we cannot do an upgrade, and we need to limit how much the inverter is going to push out to the grid. But we want to make sure that the loads are first, they consume the solar before we reduce the power. So by putting the CTs, we can maximize the solar, but also make sure we're not going to exceed the busbar rating of that grid connection. In a residential scenario, there are places in the US where exporting solar is not allowed. So that's where the zero export comes into play. Rapid shutdown. All of our products, from the residential to our CNI, comes built in from the factory with a rapid shutdown transmitter in the wiring box. Right now, you specified through our distributor that you want to use Cytigo, or if you want to use the APS. Soon, we'll have our GoodWeek brand available. So there'll be 3 options, right? So the transmitter is already inside, it's already wired. Some cases, I know still in the US, there are some states that rapid shutdown is not required, very few, but also you have some cases where the system may be grandfathered in and you're doing what we call a repowering, because an older inverter got just damaged and you want to replace it. If you don't need to use a rapid shutdown, no problem. You just disconnect the power and you're ready to go. And then one of the things that happens a lot when we're talking about even residential these days, people often want to talk about optimizers. And there's been a push in the industry, in some research I've seen on the internet, about the majority of the roofs don't really benefit from an optimizer. So you have those very difficult roofs with multiple angles. Perhaps you have some shading that is unavoidable because it's a building on one side. Perhaps those, but we in the industry are starting to see that it's only 20% of the sites where an optimizer really is beneficial for the site. So when you think about a rooftop, kind of like you see on my picture here, it's flat. There's nothing, there's no obstacles. What we do is, rather than specifying individual optimizers that add cost to the installation, add labor to the installation, we're actually utilizing in our own design, because each string is isolated. So even if you had one string that was in a little bit different angle or had a shade from a cloud or something, it does not impact the total production of the inverter. We also have a proprietary algorithm that we call the shadow scan that is quickly sweeping across the IV curve and making sure if we have a cloud going over a string, then that we rapidly move to the best spot within the IV and the IV curve. This inverter can also accommodate the larger modules. Each MPPT is 30 amps. And again, you can do 2 strings. Last thing for the SMTs is NEMA 3R. They have a wide range in temperature for operations, and also 100% humidity, non-condensing. So they're not susceptible to issues with humidity. We can monitor all of our products with our SIMS portal. Here you can have, the installer can have a dashboard for all the installations. The consumer, the owner of the site, can see the inverter. I'm showing here some of the graphs that are available. I encourage you to go to our website and you can click on a demo and you can see a demo of the graphs that are available in SIMS, and then Solar Go. So both of these, the apps are for all of our inverters, from the small string inverter I mentioned to the storage, all the way to our CNI inverter. And thank you guys. I'm moving on to our next presenter and ask any questions if you want.
Well, thank you. That was very educational. I'm with Sollega. We're a ballasted solar racking manufacturer, and I wanted to thank GoodWeek for having us on this webinar today. We are also a string inverter mounting system. As you can see here, GoodWe's commercial inverter mounted on our FR510. It is a one-piece solution. It's flexible, and this also pertains to UL 3741, where the inverters need to be mounted within 1 foot of the array, and I'll talk further about that in my presentation. But a little bit about us. Sollega has been in operation since 2009. We are a U.S. company. We're based in California. We are U.S. manufactured. We injection mold our racking outside of LA. It's a one-piece system. Requires no assembly. They stack and nest. They're very compact for shipping, easy to stage, and even easier to install. And we're all about speeding up PV. We're really focused on the labor and the installation times for the integration of PV on commercial flat roofs as well as ballasted ground mounts. A little bit about our material. Ultramid is compounded here in the U.S. by BASF is our material supplier. It is a specialized material. It's been used in the automotive industry for 30 plus years. It has a very high heat stability, high RTI rating, relative thermal index rating, has the same expansion contraction rate as aluminum. So it's a good fit for, if you look under your hood of your engine, of your car, you're gonna find this material is used for things like thermostat housings, intake manifolds, a number of different parts on the engine. It also has a very high UV stability built into the material. Due to that high heat stability, we have Class A fire ratings with type 1, 2, 3, and 29, which are the bifacial modules. One of the reasons we were the first racking company to achieve UL 3741 here in the US is due to the fact that our material is non-conductive. So it is safer for crews on the roof. You're dealing with high voltage, as well as for first responders. And due to the longevity of our material, we offer a industry leading 25-year warranty on our racking. We're confident our racking will outlast the useful life of the array and can be reused or can be easily recycled at the end of its useful life. So what is a ballasted hybrid system? So essentially, we're first starting with the available reserve for a building. How much weight can we safely add to this roof? And that takes into a number of factors such as snow load, wind load, parapet heights, slope of the roof, etc. Hybrid system means essentially that we either fully ballast or we can mechanically anchor and have a combination of both. Most systems, commercial systems, we're talking about 25-foot deck, maybe 105 mph mile per hour winds with a conventional parapet. We're typically going to be in the 4 to 6 PSF range for a fully ballasted system. If that, as I mentioned, if that exceeds the available reserve of the roof, then we would utilize mechanical anchors to meet that limit. We also utilize mechanical anchors for lateral seismic loading, and we can utilize what we call prescriptive design for lateral loading. So we actually have friction testing with our racking with different roof membranes, and we can utilize that in certain circumstances to avoid the use of mechanical anchors for seismic. So this is a detail of our features of our bucket. We call them buckets. They are look like they're about the size of a laundry basket. They work it's a universal system. We can mount majority of modules on the market in landscape, and it's one piece, as I mentioned, no assembly required. So it is a build as you go system. So the installation consists of snapping your setback, putting down your first 2 rows of buckets, and attaching the modules to the buckets. Everything is a top-down connection, one size tool. We do have different locations on the bucket where we place the bolts when they come off of the injection machine. And depending on where those bolts are placed in the bucket, they are either a 10 degree with a 13-inch inner row spacing, or a 5 degree with a 10-inch inner row spacing, or we have a 6 degree with an 8-inch inner row spacing. Very high GCR, ground cover ratio. So if you need to really pack the kW in on the roof, we have a 6 degree solution that also has an 8-inch leading edge height. Our 10 degree has a 6-inch leading edge height. So what that means is you can go over a lot of things on the roof. In the real world, there's vents and power line sets and water lines. We don't have windscreens with our system, so you have a higher leading edge, and you have the ability to go over as well as run conventional roof supports for conduit and things like that. Because our racking's polymer non-conductive, the bonding for the modules east-west is provided by our proprietary slide-on bonding jumper. It's a spring stainless steel unit that provides east-west grounding continuity. We provide a lay-in lug that's used at the end of the row to run your bare copper to ground. It's very easy to adjust as you're installing. We do have some flexibility with how they can be placed on the modules, including the use of mid buckets in certain locations to add more ballast where necessary. Very roof friendly, so there's no sharp edges. It's all rounded bottom, has integrated drainage, as you can see. So we're also very low point loading on the roof. So we're not in jeopardy of compressing your, say, polyiso or polystyrene roof insulation. As I mentioned, again, Class A fire rating, very compact for shipping. We can fit now with these larger format modules up to 1 megawatt in a 53-foot container. That would be 36 pallets of racking. We do comply for the IRA additional 10%. We are 100% US made, our raw material. We injection mold them, and our aluminum extrusions are all made in Ohio. We do also have a UL 3741 and UL 2703. I'll talk further about UL 3741. With our UL 2703, we have over 500 modules on our list that can be found on our downloads page in our installation manual. A little more detail on the inverter mounts, and it's a very flexible system, and it enables the inverters to be mounted within the array, which is a requirement for UL 3741. So UL 3741 is something that's been in the code, and there's a section in there called PV hazard control. So PV hazard control is a elaborate testing procedure, essentially mimicking a first responder falling on a module, conditions are wet, they're wearing specific PPE, they have a specific type of hammer that firefighters use. That hammer hits the glass. What's the potential for them to essentially create a circuit by reaching over to another row? What's the leakage on the module from that breakage? We went through all that testing. We were, as I mentioned, the first CNI manufacturer to achieve that UL certification. We are certified with GoodWe's inverters, they're commercial inverters, and we're always adding their new inverters as they come out. And as you can see here, the inverters are mounted on the roof within 1 foot of the array, and those can be mounted on our racking. And all of the stringing for that inverter has to be within what we call the PV array setback. So we wouldn't be able to have a subarray that's say 3 or 4 feet away from the main array running off of that inverter. So that requirement and having that inverter there and everything being on our UL 3741 list, what that does is that enables us to remove the RSDs. So that does a few things. One, that reduces the number of DC connections to 1/3 of what they would be with RSDs. It also removes that upfront capital cost of the RSDs. So we're going back to essentially string level disconnects, the way that the industry worked prior. So fewer connections, lower upfront capital costs, and a much simpler installation. So as I mentioned, PV hazard control, everything has to be listed. We can mount modules up to 30.5 square feet, 1,000 volt. All of our clamps are certified with UL. All of our components are certified with UL 3741, including our wire management, which we include and provides the required air gap, and our slide-on bonding jumper. Here's a list of the current GoodWe commercial inverters that we have on our UL 3741 list. So it is their 50 and 60 kW units. Obviously the PV wire has to be certified and any conduit that's used. So that's really an overview of what we do and how we can work with you and GoodWe to not only mount your array, but also mount your inverters on the system. And I'll be available to answer questions after the webinar. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ellie. And thank you to the GoodWe team. Really excited to be here for GoodWeek, and just wanted to say thank you to GoodWe and Solar Builder Mag and all the other presenters today. Really looking forward to giving you guys an overview of OpenSolar and how to design, sell, and propose with GoodWe's products on the OpenSolar platform. My name is Andrew McGugan. I'm head of Pro Experience for OpenSolar's US team, and we'll be happy to help you out with getting started on OpenSolar if you're interested in checking us out. So just a little bit about us here at OpenSolar. We're the world's leading solar design and proposal software. So currently OpenSolar is being used in over 120 countries. We're primarily located in Australia, but we have teams in Australia, the Philippines, the US, the UK, and Europe. So we're a truly global team. Really nice for our users because you'll be able to get 24-hour support from us, whether you need it during the weekends or late nights. We've got a global support team to help. OpenSolar is an end-to-end software platform. We'll talk more about the features and functionality, but one of the really awesome things about our tool is that we're free for the contractor. So unlike a lot of our other software tools we see on the market today, OpenSolar doesn't have any licensing fees or any user costs to use. It's completely free. And that's thanks to all of our partners like GoodWe. They sponsor and support OpenSolar, and they help keep the lights on here so we can keep it free for you, the installer. Now, we're built by solar professionals for solar professionals. So I've been in the industry quite a long time, so as a lot of our founders and a lot of our other team members. Adam Pryor, our CTO, was one of the first individuals to digitally figure out how to get the pitch of a roof and how to build proposals back in the early 2000s. And Andrew Birch, or Birchie, was the CEO and founder of Sungevity, and he's the current CEO of OpenSolar. So who are we? OpenSolar, we're an automated 3D design tool. We're also a CRM, project manager, and a post-sale manager. So with OpenSolar, you're going to have automated 3D designs. All you have to do is just paint on the panels, and you can create a custom interactive proposal in just under 5 minutes that you can show to a customer. We have a lot of the big solar finance companies fully integrated and plugged into OpenSolar. So you can do your credit check, your pre-approval, everything right in the platform, including the loan docs. And what's really nice is we have instant refreshes. So whenever the loan providers or integrated finance partners, whenever they change their dealer fees or interest rates, you can automatically refresh that information with just the click of a button really simply. So we have all of that built into the platform to make it easy for you. And one more thing about us that's really important is our accuracy. So OpenSolar is class leading on accuracy here with third-party validated best-in-class design, validated by NREL and PVEL. Our tool is really accurate, not just on the shading and the site assessment, but also the energy modeling as well. We provide full year-round shading reports and shading analysis that you can generate right out of the tool and even show to your customer. And what that all means for you is more accurate proposals, which means fewer change orders, happier customers, and higher conversion rates. And as I mentioned, we're an all-in-one solution. So OpenSolar, we are a CRM, project, customer manager tool. We have everything available on the web-based browser, but also available in the App Store. So you can download this to your smartphone or tablet to take it out in the field. And we have an open API. So if you want to integrate OpenSolar with other tools that you're using, maybe another CRM, you can certainly do that. And we do provide, like I mentioned, post-sale documentation, install packs, shade reports, user manuals, all kinds of stuff. So from the very beginning of your lead, all the way through design to proposal to closing the deal, and even managing a post-sale, OpenSolar is your one-stop software solution to help you manage your business in the solar industry. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick demo of the OpenSolar platform here, just to give you an overview of how everything works and how to design, sell, and propose GoodWeek products on OpenSolar. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right here, and we're going to take a look at the OpenSolar platform. So just let me know if you're having any issues seeing my screen. This isn't going to be a full demo of OpenSolar. Definitely please reach out to us. The GoodWeek team here in Solar Builder Mag will share information and next steps on how to get in contact with us. And we're happy to set up a demo to give you an overview of this. So in OpenSolar, there's 3 main zones. There's the home page here where you start a project by entering a project address. There's the project manager, the project zone. This is going to be where you can manage all of your projects, all of your contacts. You can upload and host files in here, basically managing all of your projects and customers. Lots of good functionality in here that you can use in the field or on your computer, including calling, texting, or emailing. You can even search and create list views of projects and jump to each stage in the project by clicking on these action item buttons here. The third zone is our control zone. This is where you build out your account, set everything up. And we're going to help you with building out your account when we help onboard you to OpenSolar. But you'll have all your company information, all your payment and pricing options, like all of our finance partners who I mentioned are fully integrated in here. So you can easily connect your account, build everything out, add all of your equipment and hardware, like your GoodWeek products, right here to the OpenSolar platform. You can create contract templates, proposal templates, and access our utility database and incentive database all right in the tool. Like I mentioned, tons of support resources. We have weekly webinars you can attend. You can schedule a call with us. We even have a help center with tons of support, guides, walkthrough resources, and training material. There's a lot of great stuff in the dashboard here, lots of insights, but one of my favorite features here is the customer interactions. So using OpenSolar gives you a lot of great information, including customer interactions. When you send a digital proposal through our tool, any interactions your client takes to that proposal, you'll get live notifications. So these are really great buying signals for you as a sales rep or a business owner to know which of your customers are the most interested and who you want to spend your time with. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into a project that I pre-built here for the GoodWeek webinar and the GoodWeek. It's a GoodWeek demo here. When you go ahead and open a project and move into the project, you're going to have these tabs across the top to manage it. The Info tab will have all the customer contact and project information. In the interest of time, we're going to skip over that one, but that's where you can generate documents and upload files and store all the customer project info. The energy page here, that's where you're going to put in your usage and utility information. And this is really important for GoodWe's products to make sure you're modeling them correctly and getting the best ROI and savings in your proposal, especially when it comes to states where net metering has changed quite a bit, like in California. And we'll talk a little bit about how that works in a moment. Now, entering usage in here, you can do a couple of different ways. You can do kilowatt hour values. You can do bill dollar values. You can even do a low, medium, or high estimate based on the size and location of the home. We also have the ability to upload interval data. So if you get that green button data or interval data from your utility company, you can upload that right into OpenSolar and get all that granular usage data for your customer, especially if they're on time of use. That'll be really, really important for modeling savings and ROI. Now, most installers or sales reps are putting in just the monthly kilowatt hour numbers. You can do that really easily just by entering them in here. And the tool's pretty dynamic. So even if you just have a couple months of usage, if the homeowner is brand new, you can put in the months you do have, and it will build out the rest of the year for you with seasonality based on where the home is located. Now, of course, if you have all 12 months, you'll want to plug those in right here. And if you don't have the interval data or that granular usage data, you can tell the system, okay, the customer mostly uses their energy during these times of the day, during the weekdays and weekends. So the tool can better understand how they're, using their energy and what the costs are and what those export values are as well. Now, what's great with OpenSolar is we've got a really strong utility team here that monitors and tracks all the major utility companies in the US, and we're very proactive about updating our rates. In California, for instance, we have all the NEM3 rates in OpenSolar, including the most recent updates to NEM3. We're really proud of this. We were one of the first platforms to have all of the NEM3 coverage, and we have all 576 export values built into our tool. So when you're modeling GoodWe's products in here, especially with storage, you can have the system export energy when it's more valuable for you, and you can model that, especially in those summer months where you're getting much better credit return than you would in the middle of the day or during the winter. So we'll talk about how that shows up in your design and proposal, but all that is already built into our tool. You can check out our utility database by searching for your utilities in here. Just click the utility company or search for them. You can find all of the rates in the system. All right, I'm going to move into our design studio here. That's where we're going to build our design in OpenSolar. And I've already built a couple of designs here for this webinar, but I am going to start off with a brand new one, and we'll come back to these pre-built ones in a moment. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to click that. But this is our OpenSolar design tool. So in OpenSolar, we've got 3 different design modes. We've got the 3D mode. That's what I'm in right now. We have the 2D mode and the manual mode. 3D is what you want to be using every time that it's available to you. And the reason being is 3D is the most accurate version of OpenSolar. This has been validated by NREL and PVEL, but it also automatically calculates for you the azimuth, the pitch, and the shading. So you get automated calculations for all that, which we'll look at in a moment. Now, the Google Solar API, that's what's included in OpenSolar for free. It's available to all of our installers. And the great thing is that Google has been aggressively expanding this. So they have like 85% of the country covered now, and there's a lot more expansion coming. So, traditionally 3D would be available in the majority of the country. Now it's pretty much available everywhere with the Google API. We do have some premium mapping partners as well. So we have NearMap and EagleView in here. If you are signed up with either of them, you can integrate your account and then access your imagery or their products on OpenSolar. With NearMap, we do have a monthly, aside from their monthly option, we do have a paid per project option. So if you want to use Google for free, but then if you have a new construction or if the home's not showing up with 3D, you can utilize NearMap for only $4.50 from them to pull all their data and imagery. So there is an option there if you want to use Google for free, but then use NearMap on a one-off basis. We have all that. Now, again, all of our integrations and partners, the relationship is with them. You just connect your account with OpenSolar to access everything in here. Again, OpenSolar, we don't charge for accessing any of the Google information. Now, if you don't have 3D for some reason, you do have 2D and manual. 2D is your typical top-down 2D designer. You can build great designs in 2D. It just doesn't calculate the shading for you. So just be aware of that. That's why we have the manual mode. That's where you can turn a 2D model into a 3D model, plant trees around it, size them up to get an idea of the shading impact. So that's why we recommend the 3D mode. It'll give you all those calculations automatically. So just to give you a quick overview of how to design a system here with GoodWe's products, in OpenSolar's 3D mode, you can navigate around this really easily by right-clicking and holding, or using the scroll wheel on your mouse to zoom in and zoom out. You'll have this compass down here where you can use that to do the same thing by clicking on the directions or clicking on the middle. And we have the plus and minus arrows to zoom in and zoom out here. So use your mouse or use the manual options here, the buttons. Either way, you can get the same effect. Now the button down here, the sun moon icon, will give you a shading preview. This is not our full shading tool, but gives you a nice thermal heat map here that shows you where the best solar access is for the property. So the brighter the yellows and oranges, the better solar access or sun access you're going to have. Now to start your design, it's really easy. Just come over to this left panel dropdown. You'll see a summary of the system once you've designed it. The panel tab here, that's going to have your modules. So you'll go ahead and select the panels you want to use. This is my demo account, so I have a bunch of them in here. Normally you just have the 2 or 3 your team is selling. I'll select my Panasonic modules here, and once I select those, I can hit the plus panel button, choose portrait or landscape, and then bring my cursor out and you'll see the module follow. Now you'll see that it's snapping right to the roof face, and that's because it's picking up the azimuth and slope in real time. All I do is left click to place it. I can left click on each box or left click and drag, and you'll see that it's snapping into place. It's realigning, and that's because it's finding that optimal azimuth and slope for me in real time. So my azimuth is 123.4 degrees. My slope is 17.8. And anytime I make changes to this, add, remove panels, or move the array around, it's going to calculate and recalculate my system size, my offset percentage, and my first year of production. That's that blue bar moving across the top there. Now, if you want to manipulate the panels more, you can tilt them. Tilt is the racks. We're not going to tilt these right now. I can change the orientation. I could put gaps in between them. I can even raise them off the roof or off the ground with clearance right here. So lots you can do there with those modules to get them to model exactly how you want. And again, you can do roof mounts, ground mounts, carports, all kinds of different designs in here. Now, once your panels have been designed and your array is ready, if you want to see the shading tool, that's going to be right here under the shading dropdown. That's going to give you this table with the months of the year, the times of the day, and the average solar access or shade impact. You'll also get these green ray tracers. That's going to show you the sun path. So if I want to look at July at 6 in the morning, I can click right there, July at 6 a.m. It'll move those ray tracers and I can see exactly what's impacting the system. I can even look down to the module level here to see which parts of the array are being affected by the shading. So you're getting a really accurate shading analysis here, and that's all factoring into your production, your savings, and all the information you're going to show to your customer. Now, you don't have to draw out the roof. You don't have to model setbacks to build the array, but we do have all that functionality. So if you want to draw the roof or you want to have setbacks built in, that's all there. We do also have the tree trimmer. So I'm not going to highlight that today, but if you want to actually remove trees, you can cut trees out of our tool and it will affect the shading for you live. So if your customer is willing to remove trees, or maybe they have, you can do that in OpenSolar and it will affect production. So once I've got my modules down, I'll go to the inverter tab next. This is where you're going to select your inverter. Now I'm going to go ahead and choose GoodWe here. Again, it's my demo account, so I have a bunch in here. But for the products you've loaded, you'll see the product manufacturer and the voltage range. So we're going to choose GoodWe 240 volt. Now I can always manually add my inverters. This is our automatic inverter adder and sizer. So if I click GoodWe 240, it's going to automatically choose from my whole GoodWe lineup the correct inverter to use, and it will automatically string and size that for me. Similar to what we were talking about earlier in this presentation, you do have in OpenSolar the ability to see all the details for that inverter product. So how many panels can you put on it? How many MPPTs? What are the voltage ranges? And all that information, like how many panels per string and the max parallel strings per MPPT, all that's going to be here. You can also check all of the voltages here as well. So if you manually string this in correctly or don't string it right, these bubbles actually turn red and those check marks turn into red X's. So the system will tell you if you're stringing it incorrectly and help guide you through it. But we have the auto sizer and the auto stringer to make it really easy for sales reps. Now the battery section is next. Here we can add a GoodWe battery. I'm actually going to go ahead and go to the pre-built systems for this because I've already done this in a couple of my designs. But in the GoodWe battery here, you can simply select that option. And then right here, you're going to have the battery control scheme. Now I've got some custom ones I built here. You can ignore those. Just focus on these 4. The battery control scheme is telling the battery how you want it to charge and discharge. So if you want to use the maximize savings option, that's going to try to minimize importing energy from the grid when the rates are expensive. And it's going to try to store it all in the battery and then dump it to the grid when the export values are in your favor. So you want to use that maximize savings in California. If you're in a place like Arizona, peak demand shaving. If you want to protect your energy self-consumption, and if you want to minimize what you're importing from the grid, there's that option as well. If you want more details on what these mean, you can go to our help center. We also have the ability to create your own custom battery options if you'd like to as well. Now in our other section, you can add any other components here besides the panels, inverters, and batteries. That could be racking, electrical gear, balance of systems. We also have an integration with Iron Ridge where you can directly import your bill of materials by filling in a couple of fields. It's a direct connection with their DA tool. So all that's fully built into OpenSolar. And once you've got your products ready, you'll go ahead and set your pricing. Now you can do price per watt by system size. You can do cost plus markup. You can even do manual pricing entry. You can enter all of your costs if you want to. That's optional in OpenSolar. You can set commission levels. You can even build a discount or adder library here to add right on top of your baseline pricing. If you fully built everything out in OpenSolar, it will custom job cost for you. It will also price out the system based on the payment option, and it will show you your cost, your pricing, and your margin in between. So really a great way to get an idea of all of your projects and keep track of all of that right here in OpenSolar. Again, the cost piece is optional, but yeah, a lot of installers will build that out to get a full job costing in here. Now, incentives will be applying automatically. This is California, so just the federal tax credit. We have a whole library of incentives that you can set to auto apply or you can add manually. And you can also create your own incentives. We do have functionality to make all kinds of incentives like depreciation, storage incentives, SRECs, all that kind of stuff is available in OpenSolar. All right, now once I've got my design built, I'm going to go ahead and set my view. So whatever angle I leave this in, whatever's in my white checkered box, I'll set that view in my design tool, and then I'll hit save. The next section, the payment section, I'm going to skip over that today, but that's where you're going to choose your payment options. So all those different payment options you have access to, you can compare and contrast them, compare the monthly savings, compare the interest rates. You can set up all your payment options for each design and then save it before going to the online proposal, which is the customer-facing proposal in OpenSolar. So this is a preview of what your customer is going to see once you've designed your system and chosen the payment options. You'll have a nice welcome message that you can customize here, as well as an about us for the business. They'll hit continue to proposal, and this is the digital proposal tool. So it's fully interactive here. You've got this and a PDF version as well that you can download or email or print. In the online version, you're going to have these financial figures across the top. You'll have your logo, the color scheme. You can customize and change all of this. You'll have the different views that we set up in that design tool, which you can toggle between or change as well. And you can cycle between the different system designs here. Now, underneath this, you're going to see the payment options you've selected, which you can toggle between updates live. You'll see your hardware equipment here, which you can switch between systems to see that information. Now, what's really great is for our partners like Panasonic and our partners like GoodWe, you're going to have all this extra detail here with the product. So OpenSolar, you can design with any products you want. We're totally agnostic, but companies that don't sponsor or support, they're just going to have black text here. So you'll have just the very basic black text. There won't be any pictures or other information, but that's the great thing for GoodWe's products is they provided, through sponsoring with us, all this information to help you sell their products and explain them to your customers on OpenSolar. So you've got nice marketing videos, you've got tech brief information, warranty information, the spec sheets, all that's right here in our platform to show and to download to help explain to your customer why these products are the ones that they're going to want to go with. Now, below this, you'll have all the widgets and graphics. These things you can keep in or keep out. You can actually move them up or down or rearrange them. So if you've got system performance here, if you want to keep this in, you can. You've got environmental benefits, a nice little graphic on how solar works, and then the financial information. And we're going to walk through all of this really quickly in just a moment. But at the very bottom here, you'll have your quotation table. That's going to let you to change between cash and a loan option. So you can see all the information here like interest rate, loan term, the prepayment of the tax credit, and how that affects your monthly payments. So you can toggle between all of this in OpenSolar. And the great thing is that if your customer wants to sign up, they can do it right here in the tool. So all they have to do is click apply now. That's going to go ahead and send everything over to Dividend, start building the whole project in their portal. And right here, you can start doing the application, the credit check, the pre-approval, and your loan documents. You can also sign your own contracts in here via DocuSign or our native signer. So you can close your deal with your contract or our finance partners all in one portal. Now, just to go back for a moment really quick, I want to talk about NEM 3, and then we can get back to wrapping everything up here. So in California, right, we have NEM 3, where unfortunately now the credit values are not worth very much during certain times of the day. So you really want to be protecting your solar production with storage. And also you want to be using that storage option to help export the energy when the credits are in your favor. So right now we're looking at a solar only system, $25,000 net cost after the tax credit, $73,000 in lifetime savings. If I go to the next option with solar and storage, a 12.8 kilowatt hour GoodWe battery product, you're going to see right here my cost goes up by about $9,000 or so net. That's after the tax credit. But check out my savings, right? They're going up another $9,000. Even though my cost is going up, my savings are going up as well. And you'll see this as I increase the battery capacity, right? Now we're looking at 25.6 kilowatt hours. Same thing, right? Cost is going up. we're also seeing that life savings going up as well. And that's because you're using the battery to store and dump the energy to avoid, getting bad credit return essentially from the utilities in California. So right here under solar performance, we're getting 38% of our energy from solar for solar only. 62% goes back to the grid. And that's going back to the grid at not great times, right? So that red is the export, the yellow is solar production. It's happening right in the middle of the day when the credits are not very valuable. You don't want to be exporting here. If I switch to solar and storage, watch those numbers flip. Now with my GoodWeek battery solution, I've got 73% self-consumption, 27% going back to the grid. Now, if I look at these daily energy profiles, check this out. The yellow is the production, the blue is the battery charging in the middle of the day, and then exporting at the end of the day, where I'm getting way more value for those credits. I'm able to kind of game the system essentially, right? So that's how you're seeing better savings over the lifetime of this system. But also, if you come all the way down here to our net financial table, the solar only had an 8-year, 9-month payback. Check out solar and storage, right? We're increasing not only our net savings and our lifetime savings, the customer is getting to their payback faster with a storage solution. So for all of our California customers, Carolina customers, any state where net metering is kind of under attack, OpenSolar provides a really great solution to help you sell solar and storage, help you sell larger systems, and give your customer a better solution over the lifetime. Finally, easy to send this out. You can just send the proposal to the customer, copy and paste the link, scan the QR code, or customize and send the email right from our tool. Once you've sold and signed a deal, we do have the ability to manage that project. So you've got all your stages and action items in here. You can collect and process payments in OpenSolar as well. And we even have some engineering, like a single line diagram builder. You can also go ahead and export DXF files to AutoCAD. Or if you want to send everything over to Green Lancer, our partner, you can actually order your plan sets right from OpenSolar. So that's the whole OpenSolar platform. Thank you for taking the time with me here today. Please reach out to our team if you'd like a full demo and overview or any help getting started with our platform. I'll turn it back over to the GoodWeek team here and really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, everybody. That was a lot of great info, and there was definitely a lot of questions that came in. And before I get to the ones that I see here, Sandra, I wanted to ask you, because I know you were answering a lot of questions one-on-one. Was there anything in particular you wanted to address that came through to the wider audience, or that came up since you talked at the beginning? Maybe you thought of since you last spoke that you wanted to address?
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I did want to repeat from one of the questions is that our storage inverters, our residential storage inverters, are what we call battery ready, which means that if the customer is not ready to buy the batteries today, they will function like a string inverter until you bring the batteries later. So battery ready. That was really all I wanted to highlight.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. Couple questions here for Ellie. Just questioning wanted to understand, with first the smaller spacing with the 6 degree 8-inch versus then the 5 degree 10-inch. Is that accurate? The smaller spacing?
Yeah, the inner row spacing on our 6 degree is 8-inch, and on our 10 degree, the inner row spacing is 13 inches. So that's the space in between the modules on the roof or the ground.
Alrighty. And then what if a customer wants to do a 20 or 30 degree tilt? Is that doable?
They're going to need to use a different racking system then. Our highest tilt is 10 degree. And the reason being is on a commercial flat roof, as the tilt goes up, the amount of ballast you need, the loading goes up. So most roofs don't have enough available reserve for a higher tilt like that. Plus the reduction in cost of modules and the ITC, maxing out the ITC, see that most clients are trying to max out the kW on the roof rather than get the most efficient tilt angle possible.
Got it. And then has Sollega or GoodWeek partnered with any wire management companies as a part of collectively obtaining that UL 3741 approval?
We do have Ray Tray V2 listed in our UL 3741 for a wire management system. We do provide the Hellerman Titan wire nylon zip tie with the wire clips that work on both the modules and our racking. I'll mention that our racking has overhangs on each side of the bucket. So all of your DC connectors are run underneath those overhangs. So there's no wiring exposed to UV for with the array with our racking, both for north, south, or east, west.
And for it to be UL 3741, they would have to use one of the wire management companies like listed with it. Like they couldn't.
They can use
an approximate.
Yeah, they use our clips that are provided with our BOM for every project. And if they want to add additional functionality with like array tray of their version 2, then they can utilize that for larger home run bundles and things like that.
Gotcha. This one is for OpenSolar. Wasn't totally sure. Can one use the Open API to access the SLD in draw.io format outside the OpenSolar app? Sorry if I butchered that question. I wasn't totally
No, you're
sure.
good. No problem. I'll have to double check on if the Open API supports the SLD functionality. We actually just released SLDs to OpenSolar, so this is actually a new question to me. So let me take that one down. I'll grab the person's email here and get you back an answer on that one. But thank you.
Yep. And another one here, it seems you have to massage the interval data into the correct format and can't use PG&E interval data directly. Am I missing something with that one?
Yeah, we do have to do a little bit of reformatting with those. We're actually working on a development fix for that, so you can just straight upload into them, but we've got to kind of match all their formats, and unfortunately, they're a little bit different. But yeah, let me, I've got both those email addresses. I'll reach each out one separately, and for the PG one, we're happy to set up a quick training call to show you how we do it, make it easy. So
perfect. And then can OpenSolar be used in international sites, like in the Caribbean or the Bahamas, for example?
Yeah, 100%. So you can go onto opensolar.com, sign right up there, just put in whatever country you're in. Now, for countries where we don't have, necessarily a built-out team or anything like that, like everything's there functional-wise, but we may not have the utility rates and things in there for that area in the Caribbean. Just reach out to our team. All we need is a copy of the bill or a link to the rate schedule. And if we don't have it, we can add it very quickly. But in terms of having the imagery, building the design, doing the things I showed on the platform, that functionality is there pretty much anywhere in the world where you're at.
Cool. And does OpenSolar provide SCHIP application in California?
We do have the ability to model it. So yeah, you can. So in OpenSolar, you can model the incentive. We also have the ability to upload custom documents and program them. So you can upload that PDF application, and we can tag it up with all the custom fields, and you can even send it out for signature from OpenSolar. So yeah, it takes a little bit of putting that document in and formatting it in your account, but we should be able to do that for you. And I'll make sure my email goes out. So I'll grab your email. So please reach out to me too. We're happy to set up a time to help with all three of those questions.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. And I was going to say, if for any other questions maybe we didn't get to during the live presentation, if they weren't addressed by Sandra, Andrew, the team will be reaching out individually to anyone who has additional questions. And so with that, we're a little 10 minutes over our allotted time. So I think I'll wrap things up today. Thanks to all the presenters. I thought that was a really awesome, well-rounded presentation. And I want to thank GoodWeek for sponsoring today's session. Congrats on GoodWeek this week. Remember, if you'd like to go back and review something or refer this webinar to a colleague, it will be archived at solarbuildermag.com. And that's it. So thanks for joining us, and bye for now.